रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम। सीताराम सीताराम भज प्यारे मन सीताराम। सीताराम सीताराम भज प्यारे मन सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम।
Another heart attack. I heard the doctors tell each other that this time it was a big one.
Your heart is fine, my dear Kastur. Don't worry. You look as beautiful as the day we got married.
We were only 13 then, and not a day older.
Who's older then? You or me?
Your old joke about our actual age. How does it matter? When no one bothered to record the time of my birth, why would it matter? Women have always been persona non grata. Even our birth time does not get recorded, so mine never did.
Stop it, my dear Kastur. Of course you were not to be blamed. I was just trying to make you feel happy by making light of the whole situation.
I am speaking with humor. Of course, I only jest.
Kastur, my dearest Ba, do you remember that you looked especially beautiful on my birthday?
Which birthday? The one I wore the red sari?
Yes, that one.
I got that red bordered sari especially for your birthday.
Yes, I had spun it for you, my love.
The women in the ashram forgot where it was kept. Oh my, they searched and brought the entire Sevagram down. I pushed them so hard to track it down.
We all know well how you won't give up if you want something.
I do have a quality of relentlessness about me, don't I? Your words, right? Not mine.
Oh dear, you recall everything that I have said to you. I hope you also recall all the nice things that I have said to you and the nice times that we have spent together.
That was such a different world. We were 3 couples getting married at the same time.
And my father had an accident. He drove his buggy so fast that it overturned. We all kept waiting for him.
The auspicious time of the marriage was slipping away, and the blade of grass.
Yes, it had to be withdrawn at the exact time when the planets and stars were aligned with each other.
A woman never forgets that moment ever. A little silver sliver of a moon. And now, even my Ayurveda medicine is being denied me. Is my time up now?
Who knows whose time is up? Even the British should leave us.
Why would you say that? If I were to do it, you would say it is because I am a woman.
No, Kastur. You are more rational than any one of us here. Rationality. Who says that men are the more rational creatures? But the British should leave us. Why should they rule us?
If they stopped behaving like our bosses, like our leaders, will you let them stay on?
Why would you let them stay on? They are never going to be like one of us. They have to leave our country just like our Hari had to leave. Hari had to leave the house because he broke the rules of the house.
He came in to see me the other day and he was completely drunk.
Please do not mention him to me ever again. Was he aware of where he was or why he had come to see you? I bet not.
I could only bash myself and feel the blood pump into my forehead. It is so sad indeed. I wish we wives and mothers are obnoxious meddling fools and we have easily disturbed nerves. Yet we want to prove ourselves right.
Kastoor, please do not say such terrible things about yourself. There could not be anyone better than you.
No. I have so many regrets. I wish.
Don't wish. Just be at peace with yourself. You even fooled the British. They never thought you would be such a threat to the empire.
I did take the wind out of their sails with my show of defiance. They had to put me into a jail after that. But I have this one regret. It is the mother in me, Hari.
Why are you so obsessive about Hari? Does it not bother you that he has failed you in every way?
No, never. The world sweeps around you like dead leaves. You blame him, but never yourself. Yes, you are saint-like, but even saints have their faults.
Why play this blaming game now? Is it going to change anything for us?
You were such a terror to everyone around you. He was terrified of you. What could I do as a woman, as a mother? He needed your understanding, not mine.
Kastoor, Ba, you are exceeding your limits again. Ba, you are not well. You cannot do this to yourself. You cannot be unkind to yourself. You have a childlike obstinacy about you.
How so? How so? You are the obstinate one. 62 years, full 62 years have I withstood you.
Then who insisted on having eggplant when you were told not to? Who insisted on having castor oil when your heart could not withstand it?
I did fill my belly up like an animal. I should be the one serving you, Bapu. But here you are taking care of me. Can you imagine life without me?
Be patient, my dear Kastoor, be patient. I have always admired your courage and resilience. You will be fine, and soon you will be out of this prison. You have so much spirit in you. You are so much a woman ahead of her own times.
But the world will remember only you, my love, my husband. Only you. Only I, your wife, a woman, will remain unknown, forgotten. I was just an accessory for you and for the rest of the world.
Kastoor, you were never a tormented victim. I know the feisty, gutsy Kastoor who taught me the concept of peaceful resistance. You are too self-willed to even... Kastoor? Kastoor? Kastoor?
And I misrepresented myself.
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहे जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे। वैष्णव जन तो तेने कही जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे। पर दुखे उपकार करे तोए, पर दुखे उपकार करे तोए, मन
I have told you once and for all, I will not clean any toilet.
Why don't you listen to me? You have become too independent-minded for my liking.
I will die, but I will not do this. This is not my job, and you cannot dictate your wishes to me. I am not anyone's slave.
Of course not. You are not my slave when I request you to do my bidding. You are just my dharam patni, my wife.
And where is this dharma enshrined? In the Mahabharatas, the Puranas, or in Manu's laws? I will die, but I will fight for my rights.
Kastur, why are you defying my wishes unnecessarily? It is just not right for us to argue and challenge each other all the time.
When have I defied you before this? Did I not suffer in silence when you put me up with that meat-eating Parsi family for weeks, knowing full well that I would go hungry in such a situation? Did I not suffer in silence when one fine day you decided to dismiss all domestic help we enjoyed? Did I object then?
But it's simply unethical to continue living like a Maharaja when all around us we see people living such ordinary lives. 75,000 pounds. I earn 75,000 pounds a year when the poor do not even get one meal a day. Is there any justice to that?
I respect you for your need for social justice, but this is too much.
No. This is social justice. We are all endowed by the same human needs and the same human desires. Why should I, an England-trained barrister, earn so much? Why should I surround myself with so much luxuries? Why should the poor Harijans be made to clean our toilets? Why should I surround myself with so much?
It is all right to give up our former way of life at Beech Grove Villa, but this is too much. I will take care of all my responsibilities. I will take care of all my sons. I will cook and clean even if that work is too much. But this, I will never do this menial work.
Menial? Did you say menial? You mean menial work? You mean this is below your dignity?
I did not say that. Why do you force words into my mouth?
Then what else is it? You say that you believe in an egalitarian world order. You support me when I fight against the British discriminating against all of us, black or brown, but you will not do what you can gladly entrust and allow another brown Indian to do simply because it is dirty?
It stinks! Human excreta stinks!
Human behavior stinks when it is wrong. Kastur, you are wrong in disobeying me.
You can say that just because you earn your 75,000 and I don't.
Kastur, what is wrong with you? Why are you acting so ridiculous? Why are you acting so bullheaded? Do I care for any money? Money is an oppressive force to me. Take away all my money. I want to make our life simple. A simple and frugal life will free us from all ostentation. I want to give away all that I earn towards public service, and you are telling me...
Yes, I am telling you that you can say that because you earn and I do not. You can never understand what I feel as a woman who does not earn. I am completely dependent on you for everything. And so I believe you will force your wishes onto me and you will do it all the time.
Nonsense. Utter nonsense. You are April-born, and all April-born women are extremely self-willed.
Was I self-willed when you forced me to part with all my jewels? You wanted to give them away in the name of public service. Well, let me tell you, it was very hard to part with my gold bangles that my father had given at our wedding. But I stayed quiet and submitted to your will, not mine.
Greed. It would have been simple greed to cling on to those trinkets. Besides, I thought you were helping me so happily enough. You helped me set up the relief fund for the poor. It is our duty to help our fellow countrymen when we live in such exaggerated prosperity here.
Duty? Why do you have this overpowering need of duty to awaken the entire human race? Do you think I don't believe in doing my own duties? I work as much as you do, but my work is not well seen or visible as yours.
Kastur, you do work as hard. You are as much a lawyer as I am, if not a finer one. I know you are expecting our child soon, but at least you can try. Cleaning this latrine is as much God's own work as anything else we enjoy doing.
It is not. It is simply a punishment.
Why is it a punishment for you and not for the poor Sudra whose only sin was to be born a Sudra? Why is the Sudra destined to clean latrines forever?
Destiny. You speak as if a woman's destiny is any better. Can a woman know or earn anything of her own? Possession. She's simply the possession of a husband or a father, always at the mercy of a man.
Then why would you not suffer in silence?
Of course I suffered in silence. I suffered in silence when your brothers decided to pay for your education in England.
Kastur, I know that you are too self-reliant to relish anyone's financial help. My brothers are not asking for their money back. I can pay them back now that I have the most lucrative law practice in South Africa.
But I swallowed my pride.
Swallow your pride. Why do you have to think of eating a humble pie when I, not you, owe them money? Neither my brothers nor I care for any money. I have this bloody as hell flourishing legal trade and I don't care for it.
You can be too brash and too unpredictable. How can a woman save herself from someone who is so hell-bent on social service that he just cannot see her point of view? Do you think I don't believe in doing good to others?
Yes, you do. And that is why I expect you to do my bidding.
Do your bidding. Huh? Do your bidding. An autocrat. You are a complete autocrat.
Kastur, you have to understand that here in South Africa, men also work at home. I launder my own shirts now. I cut my own hair. I share your work here. Whereas in India, women...
Well, it does seem rather unnatural, even irrational to enter what is women's domain. I mean, cooking, cleaning, ironing, let's accept it. I would understand, but other women would object. Who does that? How many men apparently love to do what you enjoy doing, and their wives would object to it as well?
Object? Object to what? Object to these falsely drawn boundaries? What is wrong with a man liking cooking and cleaning? Why do you have to kowtow to this middle-class mindset?
Middle class. My father was rich and you know it. We were always used to servants. But that is not the point. I will gladly shoulder any responsibility.
This too is a responsibility, my dear.
But what if I don't like it? Do I have a voice? Can I make my own decisions? Do I have a voice at all?
You need to learn about the philosophical value of dispossession. When you gave away your gold, you freed yourself from all material greed.
But don't you realize that voluntary dispossession is more meaningful to me than the one you inflict upon me?
You argue too much, Kastur.
But I may be right. You can base all your dreams on your beloved Phoenix settlement. You can base it on one reading of... Who was that?
Ruskin. I think you mean John Ruskin's Unto This Last. Yes, it changed me forever. I cannot deny it.
You can base all your convictions on that book or the Gita. But you simply cannot force us to do what you want.
Why not?
Because it's just not right. Simply because you want your children to be homeschooled, you will homeschool them. Simply because you want to teach them a lesson in discipline, you will make them walk 10 miles.
But they are my children, are they not?
Yes, but they have their identities. I too have my own identity. Just because we are one family and you love us so much does not give you the right to control all of our wishes and our thoughts.
This is absurd. Kastur, I am not controlling you in any way, am I? But what if I have this dream to experiment with a self-sustaining community? What if I have this dream to live a simple and Spartan lifestyle? Who do I turn to co-opt with me? Naturally, my family.
But don't you realize that this co-optation can soon become an imposition?
How so? How does it become an imposition if you are my very own? Who do I turn to if I have this sense of obligation to train my family, my wife, my sons in these new ideas of simplicity and self-reliance that so overwhelm me?
Train us. Why would you train us? Don't you realize that your sons can rebel against your overwhelming need to inflict everything that embroils you onto them? If they don't believe in your newfangled dietary restrictions, must you still impose them on your family?
Kastur, I do not have any personal agenda. I just do not believe in the idea of personal possessions. This senseless pursuit of material possessions does not appeal to me anymore.
It does not appeal to me either. But I don't complain as much as you do, nor do I radicalize life as fast as you do. I'm happy with these glass bangles, now that you have forced me to rest content with them.
They become you more than your ostentatious gold ones. They define your inner core better. They will not break or leave you even after you die.
How do you know that they will not shatter even after I die? Simply because you're a man and the head of this household.
Kastur, you argue too much. You can either do as I say or else get out of my house.
What? What did you just say?
I will not and cannot tolerate such nonsense in my house.
Keep your house to yourself then. Let me consent for it. I feel no sense of shame at all. Where am I to go now? I do not even have my parents here to shelter me. Why are you creating this scene?
You do not listen to me. You act like a disobedient brat sometimes. I have to teach you a lesson. Okay, let's go in.
Simply because I am your wife, I have to put up with your whims and wills. I have to bear your cuffs and kicks. Because you're a man and my husband, right?
Never mind. Never mind. Let's go inside.
What did I do to deserve this humiliation? Must you so far forget yourself? What would the neighbors have said had they seen us thus?
Kastur, you must be hungry. Why don't you eat something? What can I cook for you? Kastur, now, I just lost my mind for a few moments. Please forgive me.
I'm really not that hungry. I just have to put up with your domineering ways all my life and not argue whatsoever.
Kastur, I'm sorry. I'm deeply, deeply sorry. I realize I need to control my temper. I'm a brash and impetuous person. If I can misbehave like this with you, my wife, then what stops me from misbehaving in a similar fashion with my friends? I'm truly a beast then.
I have to put up with your ways all my life then. Either I shut up or risk being thrown out. Where is my identity then? How do I get a chance to express myself? Must I always curb my thoughts and my ideas? Do I have no social and legal rights? What if I want to be my own person and in my own right? Bapu.
Kastur, can I sit with you here in this quiet place?
Of course. It has been a long time, but we are all creatures of habit. I have gotten used to my way here in this seemingly sacred place. How can I expect any privacy of any kind?
Isn't it strange that life comes around a full circle? The jasmine flowers look so beautiful from here. It is an unusually peaceful thing, Kastur, to sit with you here in this veranda. Kastur, I have decided to take the Brahmacharya vow.
So, why do you have to tell me as specifically as this?
You seem to mock me.
Why would I do so? Dare I do so?
It is kind of like a Mahayagna for me.
A Mahayagna to test your character.
Yes, and to build on it. I did speak at length with Chhagan Lal and Magan Lal about it. And yes, with Albert West as well.
With? Really? Why do you have to tell me now that you have made up your mind and spoken to your confidants about it?
But Kastur, you are my own dear wife. Who else do I reveal my innermost feelings to? You see, there is so much violence around us here. The violence of the white folks, the Gora log hating everything black and brown. The violence of my own sexual passion, you see.
I see it. That is just a finite game for you. Your problem is you think too much.
Yes, I do think about rejecting the physical for the spiritual night and day. So what is a finite game for me? It is my desire to be at the complete absence of desire.
What you were determined to do with me as a newly married man when your father...
Yes, the news of my father's death at that juncture placed a heavy burden of guilt in my heart. You see, I have ever since learned to control my physical desires.
I should know this by now. For we have been sleeping in separate beds for years now. This is not news to me.
Did you actually want me to be near you all the time?
No, not really. I got used to your absence all those years you spent studying abroad. Not a word nor a letter to me. You did write to your brothers, though, when you were in England.
But those were business communications. I could not rest until I had paid off all their debts. That's all.
Really? Is that all? You did not think of sending me a missive of any kind? Incommunicado, right? I learned then not to pine for you.
Kastur, you do realize how much joy it gives me to be sans desire. How can the flesh and the spirit coexist? We have to choose one or the other. This new freedom must come first. Our work must come first.
Of course, our work should come first. That is the reason your sons did not see you for 2 years at a stretch. I bided that. I can bear much more. I am used to my loneliness now.
So, what are you implicating? Or rather implying?
No, I'm neither implicating nor implying. I'm just your obedient wife. But I do think that you are too self-focused. You think too much about what you wish to do in life. It has always been your decisions, your wishes, your resolutions.
Really? Have I ever been insensitive to you? Did I not understand when you had such painful menstrual cycles? Did I ever complain?
No, you did not complain. You did not complain in spite of your...
My what? My self-centeredness? Is that what you are insinuating?
No, I do not wish to insinuate anything. I love you and respect you too much for that. But what about a woman's desire? What about me? Am I not a human being too?
Kastur, you have always been an uncomplaining soul. You have accepted everything that I have inflicted on you with so much grace and equanimity. So why does my resolution bother you now?
No, it does not bother me. Why should it bother me? I'm just to walk in your footsteps and nothing else.
Are you not the daughter of a mayor? Always proud, always self sufficient. You never complained when I spoke to you about my monogamous ideal, right? My commitment to you is unquestionable.
It does bring peace to the soul when there is no conflict in family obligations.
Kastoor, I know you are a very perceptive woman, but my dreams and aspirations mean a lot to me as well. I cannot make you, my wife, an instrument of my lust by using devious means. I mean, contraceptives do apply a means to that, but I cannot demean my goals or you even by using that route.
I don't understand what you're saying. I'm a very simple woman, not very informed either.
That I will either exercise self control and abstain from sex altogether, or, Kastoor, I'm under huge dilemma. I'm under great pressure and something heavy sits in my heart. I know that we are young and healthy.
I know well why you left me when you went to South Africa the first time. As your wife, I will always understand your desire and your commitment to abstain from all desires.
It was Tolstoy who pushed me towards an absolute form of renunciation.
Tolstoy? Who is Tolstoy now? You have never mentioned him to me.
He's a great Russian writer and who had several mistresses and who had it all in his salad days. Then he underwent an inner transformation and wrote about it all. He has inspired me tremendously to give up all vices and to live a completely pure life. It will be my moksha.
I love you a lot. And I'm trying to understand how you are wired. You are steel, all steel. And we have fought a lot about your temperament. But you do know that you must not inflict all your resolves onto me.
Kastoor, but you are my dharam patni. Who else will I turn to? You know the journey has been very hard for me and the preparation towards complete brahmacharya has been rocky. But I believe in a personal code of conduct and I need to preserve my vital fluids now. It is for a larger cause.
You wish to preserve your vital fluids for a greater good of humanity? Huh? What is that? I have never heard of that before.
Let me tell you something. There is something called as the right relationship between man and wife. When that relationship is just right, just perfect, it reflects outward in the larger humanity.
And is that done not fighting? By doing what a good Indian wife is trained to do. Her quintessential duty towards her husband and her children. Is that how you achieve the greatest sense of perfection in the...
Macrocosm? No. I was not thinking of it all in those terms. What possesses me now is the right relationship in marriage. One must avoid vaibhicharya at all cost. Sex for the sake of sex must be avoided at all cost. The very purpose of marriage is a different ideal. Not to satisfy one's sexual desires, but to sublimate it. Restraint is a higher calling.
But what if one spouse desires it and the other is driving himself nuts sublimating it?
Kastoor, you do not need to inflict abstinence upon yourself as much as I need to impose it on myself. You do not need the rubber stamp of sexual morality from me. But what if I am undergoing this swakranti?
Swakranti, like a revolution from within. What if I don't experience one? Why would you force one on me? What if I don't wish for it at all?
Kastoor, I do understand, like as man and wife, we are like two together, like peas in a pod. I am convinced that we will be able to transcend all our quarrels and conflicts if we forsake our sensual desires. Sensuality, I am convinced, is the heart of it all.
But God has given us our senses not just to conquer and subjugate our appetites. There has to be a higher purpose in it all.
That is precisely my point, my nirvana. We have to defeat the bestial within us. If I stop seeing you, my wife, as a seductive temptress, believe me, our marriage will improve remarkably.
Of course. You do have your quirks and your fancies, don't you? Hand spinning, civil disobedience, fasting, and now this chastity. And the world lets you get away with it in the name of a Mahatma, a great leader.
Do you begrudge the fact that you were born a woman?
Not really. I can't be a Krishna, right? You are Mohan in the eyes of the villagers who sing paeans in your honor. Dandi darya kinare, Mohan mithun banave. I can only be a gopi, right?
And you have to give me your unconditional love as a gopi.
Yes, that is easy. I will always be your devotee, stubborn and unpredictable as your behavior has always been.
Believe me, it will sweeten and enrich our relationship even further. It will bring us closer to each other.
I cannot even call you a coward. You are not a weak man at all. You are steel, all steel. I have no objections, therefore.
Believe me, you are not a weak woman either. I can try and bend you, but I can never break you. Now, can you recite that touching Gujarati poem to me? I know you like poetry.
Which one?
The Leave This River Full of Roses one. I like Narsin Mehta a lot.
I do too. Leave this river full of lotuses, child. You might awaken our master fast asleep. He will not spare you once he wakes.
I must say that I feel quite relieved. At least you are not overreacting like Tolstoy's wife. She went hysterical, you know. She even threatened to commit suicide. She was a countess, you know.
Only countesses can react in that manner, I suppose.
After Tolstoy confessed to his wife just did not look upon him the same way.
I must confess, though, I cannot blame her completely for what happened between them. We all have our ways of justifying life to ourselves.
Yes, but to give him hell in marriage just because she could not understand his new ideals is not, what can I say, not correct, right? His life was one hell and battle match of recriminations after that. I'm so relieved.
Relieved about me being an obedient wife, or relieved about your own self?
What do you mean, my dear Kastur?
That I must confess that I didn't blame the Countess completely for what happened between them.
So?
And so, I have only one thing I need to ask you now.
And that is?
Does your vow apply only to me or to women in general?
What a strange sight. This is indeed amazing.
Why? What is amazing?
What
Are
a-
you surprised to see the large numbers of women protesting?
What a contradictory moment. So many women. So many women. Was I able to mobilize so many women?
Yes, it is indeed a significant moment in our history, and the numbers are growing every day.
I am told that it is not just the educated women who are beginning to assert themselves.
No, no, no. Even the uneducated ones like me have thrown in the towel. Every 300 women out of 30,000 want to and have gone to jail.
Mesmerizing. Absolutely mesmerizing. And they are all willing to go to jail for the sake of our freedom?
The British deserve to be shocked. They ought to prevent from these women going to prison. I'm not complaining, but it is hard indeed.
It is indeed sad. But it is their sacrifice that will pay off in the long run.
Bapu, my husband, I am your ardent admirer. Although I do argue with you a lot. It is your ability to drive change that has modernized their outlook in life. Yes, they are still so deeply entrenched in their Indian values, but they have started changing as they value our country's freedom so much.
I'm so glad. It makes me so happy. It is their political beliefs that has made them so visible that the British are nonplussed about the future course of action.
It serves them right. See those men and women there are approaching by bullock carts and by foot. But do something they must.
Every third person here is a woman. It is the power of Satyagraha.
Bapu, Mano Ben read me your words from your magazine. Yes, the future is with women.
As long as there is non-violence, yes, I believe in what I wrote in Navajivan. The future of our country is with womankind.
Except your overbearing attitude toward your own woman, you do believe in the power of womankind. What irony. And you call it blind love toward me. What cruel, cruel irony.
What? What did he just say? Yes, you are right. I am guilty of so much bad behavior. I preach non-violence, but I cannot control my temper in my own house.
But no one ever expects you to control your temper in your own home. Why should you be taught this? Men are only taught to control and master over their wives, right? Watch out! They're coming toward us. No, no, I'm not afraid.
This is not acceptable. We cannot live in fear anymore. We must defeat them or be with them.
I understand. I have prepared myself for the worst ever since you took to public life.
Yes. I remember your idea of silent suffering when you were in jail for 3 months in South Africa.
Yes. I can never forget that prison in the Transvaal. How I longed for olive oil in my food.
Yes. Your situation was so bad. But at least your public image is impeccable.
My public image? Why would I care for my public image? I know it is incomplete and it will remain incomplete. Well, I'm not just a label. That much I know. I'm as much a person as you, even though I may have more needs than you do.
Bapuji, Ba.
Is everything well taken care of? Was Mahadev Desai there at Ahmedabad station to receive you?
Oh, yes. Swami Anand was there, and so was Mr. Patel. It is such an honor indeed.
Don't worry. From now onward, you are like his daughter.
Madeline. Madeline Slade, right? From now onwards, you are Miraben. We will all call you Miraben.
I am dumbstruck. I could never have dreamed of this happening to me. I must learn the Indian language indeed to complement my new identity.
Softly, slow and steady. I am told you were in such a hurry to leave Dada Bhai Noroji's place in Bombay. You could not rest until you saw your Bapu, right?
Roland was right. Romain Roland had such wonder in his eyes as I was leaving Europe. How lucky you are, he kept repeating to me. I know that I am very fortunate indeed.
Fortunate to meet me? Even my wife would not commit to saying that. Yes, from now onwards, you are like my daughter.
Are you sure you will be able to withstand the ascetic routine of the ashram? It will be very tough indeed. I am told you are an admiral's daughter.
Bapu, I am told that both of you are also from very wealthy families. Did that prevent you from renouncing everything in life? Were you used to the rough and tumble of life in an ashram?
As a woman, I thought one had few choices. But your decision to brave all odds and leave home and hearth makes me think again. It makes me pause.
I can understand your desire to sell your diamond brooch for our cause. But to leave England for good must be a hard choice, I know.
When Romain Roland told me that you, Bapu, was another Christ, I was enthralled. I knew then that my life was meant to be devoted to your service.
Miraben, you left your home not to serve my husband. You came here for a larger cause. Don't let yourself get so infatuated by this man that you lose yourself.
In other words, she does not want you to become a consummate devotee. Keep something of yourself to yourself.
Pray, do not be worried about me. A woman's identity will always be hers alone. I do not believe that simply switching from a life of horse riding, books, and music to one of cooking, cleaning, and spinning the charkha will alter my identity so much.
But you may feel as enslaved as I was in a new country when I went to South Africa.
But you were with Bapu then, as you are now. Simply learning a new language and switching from English to Hindi is not enough. I am simply longing to see ashram life through my own eyes.
You seem to be such a pure human being.
I knew it. I knew it so well. A word from my Bapu would be as a sermon to my aching soul.
Come. Come, my daughter. Let me take you there. The flesh is weak. I feel exhausted now.
I thought it was the white man's burden. Looks like it is also the white woman's burden too. What is going on here? This is indeed shocking. Why are you lying like this with these...
Nothing, Kastur. Calm down. I was just testing my endurance.
I have never heard that before. Endurance?
Yes, I needed to test myself out.
What about my endurance? You never seem to care about my feelings.
Kastur, I have thought about your feelings more than I think of my very own. And this feeling for you deepens my conviction that physical love can only limit it and not expand it in any way. I have a higher calling than that. So don't worry about me.
You like to wear new hats, new skins every day. How do you expect me to keep up with your transformations all the time?
Trust. It is implicit trust that we need to have on each other.
But the flesh is weak. How can you allow all this? I have heard of some other outrageous things going on out here. How can you allow young boys and girls to shower together? Do you not recall our lust for the flesh when we were their age? How can we expect them to be different?
But this is how they will acquire self-control. You know well that I was excommunicated by the Modhwaniya Gujarati community for crossing the seas to get my law education in England.
Of course I trusted you then. That is a separate issue altogether.
No, Kastur. How is that a separate issue? I vowed then not to touch meat, nor alcohol, nor a woman's body. Do you think I got no opportunity to be tempted?
Temptation. Temptation. Can a man not think beyond that one word? What do I care? Where do I stand? What do I believe?
Of course, it is important to test one's own strength. There is something called as a greater psychic power that comes with sexual restraint. It is my dream to achieve that.
But what about my feelings? Have you thought about my longings? Deep down, I never wished to share a house with your brothers and their wives. But you set up a home every time you left me. London, Bombay, South Africa, even Bhavnagar when we were barely married.
Are you accusing me of running?
No, not at all. I'm not accusing you. I'm just trying to understand you. My feelings, my sentiments, they don't count, I presume.
They count a lot, Kastur, and you will never understand this. It is only after I started seeing you differently and not just as my wife that I started loving you truly.
How so? You constantly test your celibacy, and then you put my love against what you describe as walking on the edge of the sword. I just cannot understand you.
Kastur, I fell more in love with you, more deeply intertwined with you after adopting Brahmacharya. Kastur, I have a larger identity for you than mere gratification of my senses.
It bothers me that you are allowed to do what you want. It has always been about you. It is your philosophies, your experiments.
What do you mean? I have lived a very traditional life. I have enjoyed my housekeeping duties. I am in a different phase of my life now.
Your midlife crisis? Is this your midlife crisis?
You can call it what you may. Perhaps it is yours too.
I will always be denied mine. I'm a woman and I do not have the right to one.
You have always had yours realized. You just do not wish to acknowledge it. A woman's spirit is larger than the tight flesh that contains it.
Perhaps that same spirit could sense it when you seethed with unrest within.
Women always seem to recognize the signs.
But I am always forced to maintain a serene front. I clearly remember your brothers accused me of playing the game when you took the vow of poverty. This is when you yourself decided to give up all worldly pleasures and in order to become an ascetic.
Yes. I do recall how terrible you felt when my brothers accused you of some game plan, some plot. My brothers should have never written that letter. You never instigated me. My vows are my own, a result of my own inner struggle.
But I am a woman, so I should be blamed for everything.
Perhaps it could be said that I test out truth and you live it. It's your luck as much as mine is mine.
But Papu, my only desire was to join yours with mine. It is still my desire as your devoted wife.
You call me stubborn, but do you remember how relentless you were in your refusal to give up beans and lentils?
It was one of your fads. Why will it reflect on my relentless ways?
But you cannot deny it, can you? Just as I cannot deny it myself.
But something just does not seem right to me. Why are there two kinds of ethical imperatives? One set for a man and the other kind for a woman. It is a very long journey indeed, especially for a woman. Why? What happened?
Nothing. Just a bit upset. Actually, I'm quite unhappy
With what?
with the way things are shaping in our country. Somehow I had a different vision of India.
So no one listens to you anymore. Why?
Everyone wants to mold this country according to his vision of Mother India.
What about her vision?
Whose? Who's her?
Never mind.
Stop speaking in riddles then.
Why don't you get me a notebook to write in? I will stop riddling you thereby.
Why? What is this repeated request for notebooks? I keep asking you and you never respond.
Because I too want to be educated. Simple.
Really? You must first learn to write in a slate and then I will think of getting you a notebook.
I need to say goodbye to my lessons forever then. Thank you.
Kastoor, I'm sorry. I think I was just caught off guard. I did not mean to offend you in any way. See, I'm too preoccupied. I have to get back to work again.
A good Indian wife. Who is a good Indian wife? We have been all well trained to remain quiet and be passive as if it is a Darwinian imperative.
That is a big word. Where did you get that from?
So a woman cannot use a big word.
No, Kastoor, I did not mean
Is
that.
she forbidden to do so?
No,
Is she trained not to do so?
I did not mean
Yet
that.
she simply cannot do so.
Kastoor,
She can only get it from a higher authority like a husband, a father, or even a son.
why? Why would you say that when you are an epitome of authority in my eyes? You are such a fiercely independent woman in my eyes at least.
Really? Like the virtuous women you describe in your speeches at the women's conference. Why is Sita's name heard before Rama's? You are so deftly in what constitutes Ramrajya. Why is it Sita Rama and not Rama Sita, Radha Krishna and not Krishna Radha?
Yes, I did conceptualize my vision of Ram Rajya my own way. But I also spoke about women whom we call Abla become Sabla. The weak become powerful.
Sure. You do so often talk about how women should represent their womanhood for the country to progress. Sure. You do so often talk about women's causes with ahimsa and non-violence.
But Kastoor,
Sure. You also associate non-resistance and satyagraha with women's causes. But you also pontificate about women's duties and responsibilities. You also speak in the same breath about how women are innately weak or passive, and she is a woman after all.
stop it. Please stop it.
Why? You so displeased that foreign woman, that American proponent of birth control, Sanger, with your radical talk about self-control and not birth control. She found you so full of contradictions. How could you tell her that you know women? She found your tall statement almost blasphemous. No wonder she thought you were so muddled up in your head about sex as sin.
Stop it. Please stop it, Kastoor. You know how I feel for you. You are an indivisible part of me. When you feel any hurt, it hurts me even more.
Try this. It is your invention. Do you wish to have a contest though?
A contest to test who spins faster and thinner? That should be fun.
Why are you letting me win?
Because I love you. Do you?
I do. It is also my duty. My duty is toward my family. It can never be toward myself.
Kastoor, I'm sorry. I'm deeply, deeply sorry. You fight with me, yet you love me so truly.
It is my prerogative as a woman. You can say that perhaps.
कस्तूरबेन
Kukla Ben. Oh, Piso.
धन्यवाद. Spinning is an art. It also forms an escape from life's responsibilities.
Of course, women need their personal space. We need our space from male dominance.
These are such important things: mental privacy and mental space.
I thought I was used to his quirks and quicksilver decisions, and I did not need my own space. Now I know I was so wrong.
Yes, you always seemed to be far more sure of his convictions than he himself was.
That is rather astute. I have never thought about it in these terms, but it may be true.
But it is. And you could be the woman behind his greatness, though I know you will never accept that.
People always talk about a woman behind a great man. Why not standing next to him or along with him? Why always behind him?
Kasturban, this is for you.
Who gave this to you? Is this for me? Why?
Yes, he told me to get it for you. He knows how much you care to educate yourself.
But
Keep it, Ben. You can pen down all your memories in this. That is the joy of being able to write.
will you write for me then? It was all so intense when we first started the Satyagraha movement in South Africa. There was no respite from the fines, the arrests, the series of imprisonments. We all got swept along. Yet we derived so much joy from it all. But as he thought about the fate of our country, I worried about the fate of my family. He wove his dreams on the face of time, and I wove my own dreams, separately and yet together.
Namaste. Namaste. Please let me go in. Please, I have to see her. Please, let me go in. I need to see her. Namaste. I'm Mrs. Nair. I'm a widow. Parilal is my son.
I know. You don't have to tell me that.
I've come to take my son back. I believe he's your husband's secretary now.
He fully deserves that honor.
But I do not want him to garner any such honors in your ashram. I do not care for these accomplishments. I just want my son back.
Your son is such a dedicated soul. Give him any responsibility and he comes running to do it.
But why don't you understand? I do not want him to stay at the ashram.
But why? Is he unhappy here? Has he complained to you about us?
He is not complaining. I am complaining. I want my son back. I'm a poor widow who's lost a husband. And now my son was such a promising star. You have stolen him from me.
How? Why?
I wrote to your husband, begging, pleading to return me my son. My son would have joined the Indian civil service. And here he is wasting his time away as a volunteer in this ashram. I saved all my family resources to give him an expensive education. I sacrificed the comforts of my life. And what does he do? Throws himself into a movement that will give him no future. He does not have time even to meet me, his widowed mother. I just want him back. Please, I beg of you. I beg of you to return me my son.
I understand, my dear, I understand. You have one son and I have 4 to think about. I worry for them as much as you do for yours.
I have so many problems on my head. I have a daughter who needs to get married. Who will take care of her education, her marriage if Parilal does not return? What will happen to the prestige and the izzat of our family? We are such a well-respected family.
I'm sorry, my dear. I'm sorry. It is not easy to go on with life all by yourself. I was just reliving all my own trials when you came in.
Are you trying to play an emotional trick on me? I'm not willing to listen to any explanations. I just want my son back. His family needs him. He cannot let our family's reputation rot away like this. Who will earn for our family then?
Come, sit with me. You will get your son back. I promise you. Do you think I don't understand your burden and your sacrifices? I too made those. It was so hard to understand my husband's ideals and to follow his dreams.
How does that help me? You have had your share of problems and I have had mine. But you at least have your husband. I'm all alone in this world.
We are all alone and yet not alone. My husband left me here alone to change with him or sink, alone, forgotten. It was so hard to even follow his ideals. He demanded so much of me. I felt shackled to them. I was a prisoner of my husband's dreams.
You? A prisoner, Kasturba? I thought I was imprisoned for no fault of mine to my own destiny. After I lost my husband, it's so hard.
We both are connected as women, and our destinies bind us together. Yes, life has not been easy for any of us. But at least your husband has freed you from his dreams. You are free to do what you want now.
How am I free? I'm a poor, uneducated woman. How do you expect me to live my life any further?
I too am a simple and uneducated woman. I have simplified my life by giving up everything. You see, the world has changed and we too must change. That is what I trained myself to do. It wasn't easy. And my faith was shaken to its core, but I persisted.
You persisted. And now you're trying to shake me off my resolve to get my son back in my own house? Why are you telling me all this? I know your husband wants to change the world with non-violence, but I do not care. How is it going to help me in any way? All I know is that I've lost my only son to this ashram, and I'm determined to bring him home.
Neither you nor I can force our will on your son. Take him if he wants to go. He at least has the privilege of an education, so he can act and behave in a more educated manner than you and I ever can.
I do not understand anything. What are you trying to convince me to do?
I'm not trying to convince you to do anything. You have to find your own convictions just like I did mine.
But why? Why should I change that which I'm fixated on? Do not try to change me. I want my son back.
Perhaps if you were to join the ashram, you will find yourself, and your son will come back to you. You will get him back.
Now, this is strange, isn't it? You lured my son. Now you're trying to lure me as well. My God, women are so manipulative. We women are defeated by our own manipulations, by our own cunning, by our wiles.
Why would you wrong everyone for what we are not? Isn't it true that women bring more hurt on each other than what men hurt us with? Come, join us here, and you will forget all injuries, past and present.
Join the ashram? That will never happen. I repeat, never. But are you sure your own faith was tested as much as was mine? Was it as hard?
Come. You can say that my one trial by fire was change. Change was the only constant, as my husband's ideas and ideals changed so frequently and so unpredictably that it was hard to find my own self, my own ideals in that flux. It is only now, only here, that I have emerged as a new being.
Well, keep him then. Keep my son at your own will in this ashram. Perhaps he too will find himself one day. I have to go now.
But call it not a woman's whims and wiles, please. We have been accused far too often of that.
All I know is that a woman is not even allowed the freedom of her own dreams. She has to kill them in order to survive.
How perceptive. I keep asking myself, where did we go wrong? Why has our Hari become what he has become?
There are no right or wrong answers. There is no single rule or law about parenting.
I prayed so hard for my Hari. You were too hard on him. On your own unthinking ways, you wreaked so much emotional damage. I know it is hard to break old habits, but one day I hope we can achieve this too.
Why do you keep insinuating that I neglected my children?
But you did. You inflicted your self-chastising ways on others. Your sense of discipline is your own. Your relentless self-abnegation is your own. When you thrust it on others, it becomes a form of tyranny. I kept telling you that, But you were blinded by your own zeal. Now it's late. Too late.
I simply believed in my principles. You call me stubborn and domineering, but I did not want to bestow any special privileges to my children. If I did not want them to feel entitled, that does not mean that you make me feel guilty all the time.
But you are
What?
guilty. Harilal would not have failed in your eyes had you not denied him that scholarship. I cringe to think what you did to him. You had these fancy ideas about homeschooling your children.
So there is nothing called as accountability in your dictionary. Are we not accountable at all of who we are and what we turn out to be? Are we simply victims of what our parents bestow on us as their legacy?
Not at all. But it tells me a lot when your oldest born was never close to you. You were never there in his childhood. He could never feel that physical closeness with you. He was closer to his uncles. They meant a lot to him.
And I didn't mean anything to them at all, right? Is that what you're implying? That good for nothing alcoholic son of yours, who even cheats on his younger brother and makes him pay for his upkeep? You are defending him? I'm shocked.
Perhaps you broke his heart. It is so hard to say what goes on in a child's heart. Where was that physical bond that he craved for?
Physical bonds, physical closeness. Of course, I was always there for my sons. This is utter nonsense and I will not accept it.
Even Manilal did not see you for the first 2 years of his life. It is so important for children to have their father's shadow on their lives.
Are you accusing me?
No, I am not accusing you. I did not accuse you when your sons got under the influence of those hardened boys at Tolstoy Farms. Yes, they too needed guidance. But you gave them guidance at the cost of your own sons. You don't seem to notice, do you?
I do notice, Kastur. I am not that blind. I did notice when you told me to give up my friendship with my childhood friend Sheikh Mehtab. I knew he was bad company, but it is not easy to bid goodbye to old friendship, you see.
You see, it is just that we must show our love and affection to friends and families, but in a different way. But you just don't seem to notice that. Passion for a cause is fine. Passion for social reform is a worthy cause, and we both have done well with it. But passion, at the cost of parental responsibilities, has its own risks.
And we are paying for it now, right? But I just could not bestow any special privileges or make them feel entitled. Everything that I stand for is fake then.
Do you think I was fake when I protected them? Your Hari wanted to be so badly with his wife and Rami, but you just did not want to pay his ticket to India. What was the net consequence? He willfully sought imprisonment rather than be with you, his own father.
Yes. I do recall how overcome with sorrow you were, how upset and how distraught. His words still resound in my ears. He kept telling me, I just do not care for any one of you. I hate you. I hate all of you. What was I to do?
Did you not see his bitterness and his anguish? He needed you, and I could tell why he was running away from you, his own father.
Bapuji, Ba, I wish to make a confession, and I don't know who else to turn to.
Why don't you turn to your Lakshmi Das uncle for your confessions? He has done everything for you and I have only undone it for you. He even also got you married to Gulab without our knowledge or permission. Why don't you go to him now?
Ba, I wish to remarry.
Only on one condition. You have to marry a widow.
Never. Never. That is impossible.
Why is it impossible? Is it because a widow must have slept with another man? Is it because she would be married to another man?
I was not thinking in those terms at all.
In what terms do you think of him then? Why would you have the right to remarry and a widow would not?
Think about women, Harilal. A woman is generative, like Avani, like Mother Earth. I still remember the time I helped your Gulab deliver your first child. There was no doctor, not even a midwife. I was so happy that my first grandchild was a girl, Rami. We chose her name, Rami.
But that was my past. It cannot come back. Marry a widow? Why? Why?
A widow can be gentle in spirit. She would have suffered. She would know your pain as much as she knows hers.
You know how widows have been mistreated in our country for centuries. We need to serve their cause through personal example.
Think about them, Harilal. Think about them. Is this not a God-given opportunity for you to save just one widow from her plight? Think about centuries of mental decay and neglect.
But this condition of marrying only a widow and no one else does not strike me as the right thing to do.
Don't interrupt, Hari.
What should I do then? I was never taught to speak the right thing. Who do I turn to?
Advice is the last thing our Hari needs, Bapu.
Advice is the only thing he needs, Ba.
My Hari has made mistakes, but who does not make mistakes? He will survive every failure as long as he has empathy, and he has loads of it.
That is your mother's heart speaking, Ba. The world does not see things as we see it.
My Hari cared enough when his cousin died in that freak accident. My Hari cared enough when he came to Satyagraha movement in South Africa, leaving his family behind.
Now you're being ridiculous. What has that got to do with his desire to remarry?
My Hari did not pay the fine when he ought not to. He went to jail, he served hard labor, but he did not pay the fine.
Yes. I know. He's my son ultimately.
Ultimately, it's always last, never first and foremost.
No, you were wrong to assume that your father did not care for any of us. He did. You left South Africa in disgust because you were so convinced about his hatred.
Yes, I was so bitter, so full of hatred toward my own father. I found it hard to forgive him.
What? This is news to me. I never knew about this.
You always knew about it, Bapu. You always did. Deep down, a parent always knows when he or she is wrong. You have always inflicted your convictions onto others.
You protect your children too much. Go and read the American philosopher Emerson and you will know what true wisdom means.
You wanted our sons to become saints and sadhus even before they started living their lives. And you want me to live my life by that philosopher or that writer? What do I care? I am a simple, uneducated woman who has barely tried to self-teach. These names are only symbols to me at best.
I'm sorry. I think somewhere we all go wrong. You are right. I cannot ask you to live your life by my ideals and my heroes.
Then where and who do I turn to?
Bapu, hurry. Bapu, we love you and respect you for your convictions. You are the voice of India.
But my dear, you are its heart and soul. What an amazing sight. You are a quiet but true revolutionary in your own kind. I knew it. I knew it.
Knew what?
I knew that you could be trusted upon to mobilize all these men and women to change themselves. Nothing escapes your watchful eyes.
Only a woman can bring out another woman. But what do I know? I'm just an uneducated woman myself.
Kastur, you do not need any degree from any educational institution. You know that very well.
I don't know about that. What I do know that you did a wonderful job in recruiting us volunteers for this consciousness raising exercise.
Yes, we have to spread the word across all villages if we want true freedom for India. They need this training in sanitation practices, in childcare, and in so many other fields.
Self-reliance. Women need self-reliance more than anything else.
Kastur, remember that you are a woman too. You tend to forget that quite too often.
But are you saying I should break my own rules of satyagraha?
Which is,
To give myself special or preferential treatment sometime?
why? What is wrong in doing that? You are an Indian woman and you can never go wrong while you deny yourself so much, all the time.
An Indian woman cannot even show excessive happiness when her husband returns home. She has to repress all the time.
Kastur, have I not let you express your dissent openly? Have I not let you be outspoken about things you feel strongly about? Why did you not ever let me know?
Let you know what? I got used to your whims and fancies, and I knew there was no way out. Just like I reconciled wearing my sari Parsi style and eating our food with forks and knives, simply because it pleased you at one point that Parsis were the high point of civilization. Tinsel, the outer show of culture and civilization, is mere tinsel to you now.
So you just learned to compromise and conform so that you could earn your peace?
Conform? Conform? Why am I expected to conform to the rigid expectations and standards of society? Why must I behave according to the dictates of society? Why should I be held to the highest standards of civility and purity? Why should women be chaste and men need not? Men only subject them to their choices. You can be all pretense and all image with your experiments, but the world will remember you as the Mahatma. What does the world know about me? What does the world know about how much I've had to struggle? Only I, a woman, your wife, will remain unknown, forgotten.